will go both divisions. Palsy and Skylar will run more of the East, Darnell and Benny more of the West. And that's where we'll start talking about a team that's coming off a playoff defeat that I think is going to maybe define this team long term. And I'm talking about the OCN Blizzard. They had a very interesting offseason. They're coming off a playoff loss. Darnell, what do you sense the OCN Blizzard are going to do with a new head coach and a new home?
I think the new home is going to bring a new life to this team. I think their new coach is going to bring a new life to this team. I think after making the playoffs after a few dismal years, this organization is heading in the right direction. I truly do believe that. And I think they're going to be able to use that new ice surface to their advantage. So I think they're going to continue to make steps forward.
Do they have the goal scoring though, Benny? They've lost a lot of offense this year. Are they going to be able to fill the net enough?
Yeah, exactly. You just Darnell mentioned it. I think they're in the right direction, but I think with Alex Bernauer not there, you got Keen McNeil not there, you got Ashton Pauls not there. So I think that's going to define them, especially early on. They got to find guys that can score goals. If they can't do that, I don't know. I'm not as familiar with the new head coach than I was with the past head coach and Doug Johnson, who's with me in Malville now. But I think he was more defensive structure, so allowed them to be into games defensively, and they could score as much as they can when they could. And now I'm not sure if they're going to be able to score enough, but it's still early on the season. I'm sure they might have some hidden gems that none of us know about quite yet. So I think if they can get some goal scoring early, I think that can kind of define their start of their season going forward.
Paul's you're a longtime hockey guy. Do you believe in a new coach bump? Like, do you think guys coming back from last year are going to be reinvigorated with a new bench boss, or is it too many new voices too quickly for an organization?
I think in an organization like that, Doug Johnson obviously did a fantastic job. In this case, maybe they did need a bit of a push, both with the community and maybe some more realization for support. Getting a new opportunity, a new rink, I think is obviously something that the community can rally around, and maybe the fans will show up in droves. And who knows? Like you said, we don't know the players that they have to bear this year, so lots of great opportunity there.
They're not in the Gordon Latham anymore, Skylar. Is that going to make a difference? It's still going to be a hostile place to play, but they had such an advantage in that barn compared to maybe other places in the MJ.
Well, the barn might be different, but you still got to make that long road trip up to play that game. So I think that advantage will remain as long as OCN is OCN. They had a great start last year. So, even if they get that new coach bump, I'll be looking at the months of December, January to see if they can kind of sustain that. That's when they kind of fell back down to earth in that West Division. And, it was kind of a slower decline. Obviously, that start was unsustainable for them last season through the first 12, 15 games. So, a little more consistent hockey as things kind of even out and everyone gets their feet under them. You get that first matchup out of the way with each team. That's what I'll be looking for this club.
Darnell, are they in the top tier in that division? Are they in the middle tier? Are they going to be fighting for a fourth playoff spot? Where do you see OCN as the year goes on here?
I think it's really going to depend, Dave, on how they do on home ice. I mean, you move from the Gordon Latham. We talk about how hostile it is there, but the crowd support just plain and simple wasn't there. You'd go to games where they'd have 60 to 75 fans. I think at the Roy Johnston, I think it's a newer facility, a nicer facility, still small ice surface, but I think they're going to have more fans. So I think that's going to really help this team if they can get on a roll on home ice. I don't think they're even right now going to be close to the upper echelon of the West Division, but I think they will probably battle for that fourth spot. But I don't think they're going to be in the top two, perhaps three, but there needs to be work to be done there. But I think they're going to be battling for a top four spot.
Benny, you work with a couple of teams in the West. Do you see rivalries growing with OCN? Like, do you see, some more hatred and those games where you can't miss against like a Sakapo, against the Swan Valley? Because it seems like those teams are going to be, neck and neck maybe early on and until one maybe separates from the pack.
Yeah, and I know they had a little bit of turnover last year from this last year to this year, but I know they had a little bit of a melee at the end of the season last year, a little bit of a line brawl, and coaches were yelling at each other and stuff like that. So stuff got heated at the end of the year. I know there's some new coaching staffs on both sides of the for Wayway and OCN, but I think the rivalry will still be there. I think Swan and OCN, just being how close they are in proximity, I think there's always going to be a rivalry, and I know they're going to play each other here early on this season. So if they can get a couple of tough battles, I think definitely a rivalry can brew.